Hi everyone, welcome to the final video on this 3-part series about noise for babies. In this video we're going to take a deep dive into psychoacoustics to find out what we can learn from noise about the way we hear. If you are new here, my name is Oscar, I'm a musician and educator. I make videos about, well, music and education. Check out the other videos about noise via the links in the description below if you haven't already, and let's get started. What can we learn from noise? Starting with point number 1, lower pitches are closer in frequency than higher pitches. Remember our old friend white noise? White noise sounds hissy and high-pitched, especially when compared to brown noise. But if you remember, white noise is a very specific type of noise where each frequency interval has the same energy level as any other one with the same range. The 100 Hz to 200 Hz band has the same level of intensity that the 1100 Hz to 1200 Hz band. So, shouldn't it sound balanced? The answer is no, and to find out why, let's have a look at the keyboard. Have a listen at the lowest note. It's an A with a fundamental frequency of 27.5 Hz. The A one octave higher will be at 55 Hz. The next one is 110 Hz. If we keep on going towards the upper range, we'll eventually get to 1760 Hz and 3520 Hz. As you can already see, the frequency interval is increasing quite a lot. So much that this minor second, a G sharp below the high A, would be 198 Hz below it. It's the tiniest musical interval on the piano, but when it comes to frequency, it's very big. So much that we would need to go to the middle register of the piano with this A with 220 Hz to have a similar frequency interval towards the lowest note. The thing is that this interval of 3 octaves is still closer in frequency than this minor second. And remember what this means, because white noise has a flat distribution across frequencies, this minor second will have the same amount of energy as these 3 octaves. And so, the upper register will be much more noticeable, resulting in a harsh and hissy sound. Those top octaves at the piano, because their frequencies are so far apart, take far more energy when compared to lower ones. The way we get around this is by using pink noise. In pink noise, every octave has roughly the same amount of energy than any other one, so it sounds more balanced. It's very useful, for instance, in mixing, but it's still not perfect, because of the next item on our list. Number 2. Amplitude is not the same thing as loudness. By amplitude, we mean the objective measure of strength in a signal, whereas intensity and loudness are subjective. Let's have a listen at 2 sine waves. Here's the first, and now the second. Which one sounded louder, the first one or the second one? I'd bet some of you even had trouble listening to the first one. That's because it's very low, and if you're watching this video on a smartphone or tablet, the speaker is so small that the response in the low end is very limited. But the truth is, they were at the exact same level. Don't believe me? Look again. Here's frequency number 1, and here's frequency number 2. To understand why this happens, here's an important concept, the equal loudness contours. The equal loudness contours represent the perceived loudness of frequencies. Some of you might be familiar with the Fletcher-Manton curves, the oldest and most well-known example of equal loudness contours. On the x-axis, we have the frequency, and on the y-axis, we have sound pressure level. So, for 40 units of loudness or phons, a 3000 Hz frequency would need to have a sound pressure level of about 37 dBs. But for 150 Hz at the same level of loudness, it would need to be at 57 dBs. That's way louder. Loudness is a fascinating topic. It involves other technical things such as compression, but also biology. The shape of our ears influences how loud we perceive a sound to be. If you'd like to know more about it, please leave a comment below and I'll try to make a video about it soon. Now moving on to number 3. You can't stop yourself from hearing a sound. This is something that I've talked about in the first video of the series, but now I'd like to get back to it with a bit more detail. If you don't want to see something, close your eyes. But what if you don't want to hear? You can't close your ears. Maybe this partially explains the power of music and why it communicates with us on such a deep level. Sound always finds a way in. One of the main reasons why we use noise for babies is to conceal other sounds. Because noise is continuous and noisy, it conceals other sounds that come on during a nap, such as a car passing by or a dripping faucet. Let's have a listen. It's easier to ignore a predictable continuous sound, but if we want this to work, we have to use either white noise or a type of noise that contains the frequencies we are trying to filter out. If the sound is particularly high-pitched, for an example, brown noise won't do much to filter it out because it mostly has its energy on the lower end. Remember, it works like sunlight, which is very bright and complex. That's why during the day you can't see the stars even if it's a clear sky. Now you see them, now you don't. And that's a wrap. I had loads of fun making these 3 videos and I learned a lot researching and recording them. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to subscribe to be notified about the next videos about music composition, music software and music education coming very soon. See you then. Bye.